start off with baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the best sports show in Kansas City. This is Any Given Sunday on KUAW Radio, where sports come alive. Join your hosts, the awesome voice, and Coach 24 as they dive into the latest sports news, analysis, and excitement. From the biggest games to the most thrilling moments, they've got it all covered. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an hour of unbeatable sports action. This is Any Given Sunday on KUAW Radio.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Weekend Eve. I am Brian Kress, the awesome voice. This is Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Coach 24, Darwin Penny, is not here tonight. He is still working. He is the hardest working man in the Kansas City Royals business, as he is out of town again. But he said he will be here next week, so we're looking forward to having him there. And behind the scenes and running the show, Mr. DJ Scatter, George Walker. Mr. Walker, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, everything's going just fine here on my end. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. I've been a little under the weather this past week and just trying to make it through the week. So as we're getting ready for Veterans Day, which is on Monday, and I'm just gonna try to take it one moment at a time. So, but at the same time, I'm enjoying watching the Chiefs just still being undefeated and running the show in the NFL. So, and it's so funny because you've got people out there that says, "Oh, Baltimore is ranked higher in the power rankings than the Chiefs and Detroit Lions." And I can understand maybe the Detroit Lions, they've only lost one game. The only problem is the one game that they lost to, which was in week 2, was against the team that the Chiefs just beat. Now, saying this, we beat them as they were down. They lost their 2 stud wide receivers in Godwin and Mike Evans. But, you know, at the same time, you know, everybody talks about how other teams, you know, their players are going down. Isn't Kansas City doing the exact same thing? They've lost their starting wide receiver. They are Oh, it's just my headset. It's fuzzing up again because I accidentally yanked on it. So, you know, they've lost their star wide receiver for the year. He ain't coming back. They lost their starting running back, though the Chiefs should be getting him back within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I believe that's what is happening. And so, and I don't know what's up with this. My headset is playing games with me, but that's okay. I am having issues. So, and you know what issues stand for is you. So I am having all the issues, and Mr. Walker is just sitting there looking good. So at least one of us is looking good, because it ain't me. So anyway, but you know, the Chiefs have lost their starting running back, their starting wide receiver. They've lost their backup wide receiver. They have lost players, but they have been able to step in and make contributions, and these guys keep just going as they're going, along. So other teams, they're just going to have to do the same thing, and when they don't, then they always go, well, they can't do this. Well, I mean, look at the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions have still been very productive. Yes, they lost to Tampa Bay in the second week of the season, but they haven't lost since. I believe they've won 6 in a row, and they've played 3 games without Aiden Hutchinson, which is their stud defensive end, and he was leading in the NFL in sacks at the time, and he's still in the top 3 in sacks 3 weeks later. So it just tells you what's going on. But the thing of it is that the Chiefs are playing well, and I'm gonna have to change my headset because this is driving me nuts. But I'm gonna keep going. But anyway, you've got Detroit Lions that are a lot of people say that the Detroit Lions are the number 1 team. The Kansas City Chiefs are not. There's only one undefeated team. That's the Chiefs. And I don't care how they do it, but they find a way to do it. And that's what champions do. They are back-to-back champions. And as I keep saying, each week they are 1 win closer to that three-peat. And so they're 8-0. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about undefeated season, and I'm sorry. It's like talking to a baseball player that has like a 30-game hit streak, and you keep talking about 56 that Joe DiMaggio hit. It's like he's not even close. Wait until he gets to 50 games when he's hitting 50 straight games. Then you can start talking to him. But everybody wants to jump in. They want to ask questions and hound. I say hound them, and then they lose it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. Well, you guys are the ones that have set it up, and I guess I'm in it too because I am the media also. So, but anyway. Kansas City is number 1 on my power ranking. I have Detroit number 2, though I've had people tell me that they think that Detroit's number 1, and that's okay. That is their opinion. And so I am doing my power ranking. I do my power ranking. I do it based on, the team and how they're playing. And right now, nobody is beating them. Yes. Does Kansas City play close games? Yes, they do. Detroit went in last week into Green Bay, and I actually thought that Green Bay had a shot at beating Detroit. I figured they had not played on a grass field and literally an outdoor field, and it was raining. So, I mean, you had every opportunity for Green Bay to take advantage of it and get a win against the Detroit Lions. Had Green Bay won, they would have been tied with the actually they would have been a half a game ahead. They would have been 7-2, and then Detroit would have been 6-2 because Green Bay now has their bye week this week, so they will come back next week and they'll have the same amount of games. But saying that, instead of them being tied with Detroit, they are now 2 games behind, and technically 3 due to the fact that Detroit had beaten them. Now, they will play again, but it will be in Detroit, so that will be an interesting game. But Green Bay was the team that actually looked like they were the ones that were struggling and had never played on a grass field and a grass rainy field and everything else like that. But saying that, Jordan Love had been injured. His leg or his groin that he had. You know, that is a difficult task. I mean, even just as a regular person, just doing their job, like me doing delivering mail, or if you're working at Ford or wherever you're at, you know, having a pulled groin is not a fun thing. And for the fact that he's out there playing, avoiding 300-pound men that are running just as fast as he is, I mean, that's incredible. But saying that, you know, Detroit beat Green Bay. They took it to them, and Detroit Lions is my second team. Number 3 is Buffalo. Buffalo has been playing very well, and next week they will the Chiefs and Buffalo will play, and that is going to be a great game. Now, saying that, does that mean that the Chiefs are going to end their undefeated streak this year? Possibly. I mean, they could lose this week against Denver. Denver got embarrassed by Baltimore, who are my number 4 power ranking team, and they just took it to Denver. Now they got a couple of breaks, and when that happened, they just went ahead and just ran all over them. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And the funny thing is Derrick Henry right now has over 1,000 yards, and he's did that in 8 games. He has a great shot at getting 2,000 yards, but he has to keep the pace going. A lot of people say that he does better late in the games, but late in the season is when we're going to find out if he's going to be able to keep performing the way he is. Now, I know Kevon Mitchell tonight will be playing for the Ravens, and that should help because you don't want to run Derrick Henry down. I mean, look at it like this: we brought in Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt has done a tremendous job for the Chiefs, and so they have definitely benefited from him. But saying that, once Pacheco comes back, he's only going to play about 4 or 5 games and then go into the playoffs. Yes, the Chiefs will be in the playoffs. There's no way that's not going to happen. And so when that happens, he's going to be more fresher than like a Derrick Henry or even Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's going to be kind of worn down because he hasn't really played a lot in the past few years. So he has done a fabulous job. He's stayed in incredible shape, and he's really helped this Chiefs team when we needed him the most. And so with that, and the defense that is 4th in the NFL in points given up on defense, this has been a tremendous opportunity. Now, saying this, Denver's defense is also pretty good. Yep. It was fine until I moved. I gotta sit there and stand still. So it's all good. It's not a big deal. I can keep going. I mean, I was going to say my microphone still works, so that's the good thing. No, that's not cutting out. So, but anyway, the Chiefs will play their first game at noon this year. Huh? No, it's all good. No, it's perfectly fine. The Chiefs will play their first 12 o'clock Sunday game against Denver. And no Tony Romo, no Tom Brady. We're just going to have average people on CBS going to announce our games for us, and maybe we can get good announcers that will announce a great game. And I'm not saying Tony Romo is horrible or Tom Brady. I know a lot of people have complained about them both, but they are They are great at what they do. Tom Brady has been progressively getting better each week at he has done that. So anyway, so I was talking football, and I was actually starting up with baseball. So I want to bring up baseball. The World Series, you had the two largest market teams. That's what baseball wanted. That's what supposedly everybody wanted, except for everybody in the Midwest. The Yankees went in and just got beat. The Dodgers took care of business. You know, the Yankees paid high dollar for these players to perform. I mean, Aaron Judge, who unfortunately is going to win the AL MVP over Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. actually has better stats overall than Aaron Judge. But the problem is Aaron Judge, he is leading in the most sexiest categories, which is home runs and RBIs. And that's what everybody likes to see. So Aaron Judge is going to get that. But saying that, he showed up for one game in the World Series. In fact, literally, he showed up for one game in the playoffs. I mean, he didn't show up at all against Kansas City, and he barely showed up for the series against the Guardians. So, and then against the Dodgers, he just really didn't show up. But I will give Freddie Freeman all the credit. He hit home runs in what was, I believe, 6 straight games. Included 2 games when he was with Atlanta, and then 4 straight games again with the Dodgers. And I'm telling you what, that was a heck of a performance. And there was just, it was the obvious choice, and he well deserved it. And so the Dodgers now have won the World Series, and they can take the 2020 World Series, because a lot of people go, well, that was the COVID year, and they played in a certain area, and they got lucky and everything else like that. And I just look, the Dodgers finally won it, so you can't say anything. They didn't cheat. They didn't do anything except for whoop up on the Yankees, which I am completely glad. I didn't really want the Dodgers to get in there either. I would have rather had my Padres and the Royals playing in the World Series, but it didn't happen. But I am glad that the Dodgers won and not the Yankees. But saying this, we have got awards. Now, the Gold Glove for the American League, there was a couple of Royals, but I'm going to go down and go from positions. So catcher was Kyle Raleigh from the Seattle Mariners, and former Royal at first base, Carlos Santana was for the Minnesota Twins. Second baseman Andres Gimenez from the Cleveland Guardians, he won it, and Bobby Witt Jr. won his first Gold Glove at shortstop for the Kansas City Royals. And then you got Alex Bregman, the Houston Astros. And then you've got left field Stephen Kwan from the Guardians. You have center fielder Dalton Varsho from the Toronto Blue Jays. And then you have Weiler Abreu from the Boston Red Sox. And then utility was Dylan Moore of Seattle. And for the pitcher, Seth Lugo from the Kansas City Royals. And he is the first Royals pitcher. In fact, he's actually the second Royals pitcher in Kansas City history to win a Gold Glove. The other one was Brett Saberhagen, and I believe it was either 1986 or 1988, and I can't remember offhand. But he joins Brett Saberhagen as the only 2 Royals pitcher to win Cy Young. And it's ironic because Zach Greinke was also a phenomenal fielder at his position, but he never won. I believe he won it with like Houston, but he never won it with the Royals. And so for the National League, you've got Patrick Bailey at catcher for San Francisco Giants, first baseman Christian Walker from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Bryce Turang, second base from the Milwaukee Brewers. You have Ezekiel Tovar, shortstop from the Colorado Rockies. And then you got third baseman Matt Chapman from the San Francisco Giants. And that's ironic because usually Nolan Arenado usually wins it every single year. So that is I would say, an upset. And then you got pitcher Chris Sale from the Atlanta Braves. And then you have Ian Happ, Chicago Cubs left field. And then you have center field Brenton Doyle from the Colorado Rockies. And then you have Sal Frelick from the Milwaukee Brewers, and utility Jared Triolo from the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that was all the Gold Gloves. I don't know offhand if Salvador Perez, Salvi, and Bobby Witt Jr. won their silver bats, which is given to a player that is the best hitter in their position. I don't know why Bobby Witt Jr. would not win it, but Salvador Perez should win it, and he had a great year. And even better, he won the Roberto Clemente Award, which is the highest honor award that you can get in baseball. It's similar to the NFL's version of Man of the Year, and I'm telling you what, he well deserved it. I think he sealed the deal when he went over to a neighborhood out in Kansas, and I don't know why he went out to Kansas. He should have done it in Missouri. But anyway, but he went out to saw some kids playing wiffle ball and went in there and joined them and played with them. And that was an amazing experience. I know those kids will never, ever forget that. And so that typifies Salvador Perez. That's how he is. He is so amazing in that, and he is really bonded Kansas City and the Royals together. I mean, he is still the only player that is still left from the 2014-2015 World Series, and I'm talking about that are still here in Kansas City. He is still the only one that's left. Now, if somebody wants to, if there was a name that I missed and they want to add, 816-599-6893 is the phone number, and you can call in and give your piece, speak your piece, and let us know. So anyway, but I think the Royals are, they're going to get better. I think John Sherman is going to work on getting players, bringing some new players in here, because Adam, I can't even think of his last name right now. Adam, who played for the Royals, is gone, which is I'm glad. Or Hampton, Adam Hampton, and they are bringing back Kyle. I think it's Kyle Isbell, or it's the other one, and I can't think of him right now. My apologies. So anyway, but they are looking at it. I would really like to see them get Juan Soto, but they're going to probably have to pay an arm and a leg, and I don't know if they could do it, but I would really like to see them at least make the effort, being like one of the last few teams who's in there in the bidding war for Juan Soto, because I'll tell you what, if we could get him into Kansas City, that would definitely be a big boost, not only for the team and on the field, but off the field, and get everybody to come in and watch this team, because I'm telling you what, this is going to be amazing. And he would definitely be a great addition to Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino as the new stadium, which we don't know where it's going to be or whatever, but we do know for sure that there will be a new stadium within the next 5 to 6 years. So maybe even 5, 6, in between 5 to 7 years. But saying that, I am looking forward to it, and I know Coach 24, he is still going to be working hard, even though he'll be in the on the show next week. I know that he is out there still working to try to get better players, try to boost this team, improve this team, make them better. But I am really impressed with the Royals, and I am also impressed with John Sherman. I know a lot of people were frowned on him. He seemed like they thought that maybe he was only in for a new stadium. And yeah, he's gonna want a new stadium, but he also wanted to make sure that he brought in a winning product, unlike David Glass. Now, Ewing Kauffman did whatever it took, but at the same time, it was a different time, and so it was a little bit different with Ewing Kauffman. But David Glass, he just he treated the Royals just like Walmart, just discount, and even though it may work at Walmart, it didn't work on the Royals, as they struggled to get good teams in here. John Sherman is not doing that. He's going to make sure that they're going to bring in a winning team and bring back another World Series. I definitely feel that they have that opportunity within the next 3 years, that they will bring in at least make it to the World Series. Now, they made it to the playoffs this year. They should have beaten the Yankees. They didn't, but it was a great run, and everybody enjoyed it. So, so anyway, we're going to talk a little bit of college football before the break. And so they've got the college playoff rankings. And so the 4 top teams that would have a bye would be Oregon, number 1, number 2, Ohio State, number 3, Georgia, and number 4, Miami of Florida. And so 5 to 12, the top 4 in the 5 to 12 would host the lower 5 or lower 4 of the 12. So it would be Texas, Penn State, Tennessee, and Indiana 5 through 8. And then Texas would play number 12, Boise State. Number 6, Penn State would play Alabama. Number 7, Tennessee would play Notre Dame. And number 8, Indiana would play BYU. And so those would be pretty good matchups. But saying this, we still have at least 3 more weeks of college football, the conference championships and everything else before they officially make it. I mean, Missouri is actually still in the top 25. I'm very happy with that. Kansas State is 7-2. They are 19. The Big 12 is really doing very well. They've got the one team, BYU. Now, Iowa State had a shot, and then they blew it. But let's see. You've got BYU. You have Missouri or Iowa State, Kansas State, Colorado, and so they've got 4 teams in there. But the best team in this top 25 is Army, and I'm really gonna root for them. The Black Knights of the Army. My father was in the Army. He served in the 60s. And so I am going to root for Army, and hopefully maybe if they can beat a few teams, maybe they can move up. I seriously doubt it, but I just really, really hope so. And with that, we are at halftime on Any Given Sunday on KUAW. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk more football, of course, because it's the NFL, and we will talk about tonight's game and our predictions that we have been doing, the four of us. So we will talk with that. So anyway, we are at halftime, and so you're listening to Any Given Sunday on KUAW. right, we're back for the second half of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Anybody would like to call in, 816-599-6893 is the phone number. And yes, I was kind of losing it a little bit before this end of the first half, but I am back and going. We are back. We are back. So anyway, I want to talk about our predictions. So last week, or the week before, I went 13-3, and I moved ahead. I was only behind Rich Eisen and Kurt Warner. I think I was 4 games behind Rich Eisen. I think he had 84 wins, and Kurt Warner had 82, and I had 80. So I was third, and Coach 24 was right behind me. And I think he had 79 wins or something like that. And then Marvin and Max Gershon, the Morning Blitz on 100 point, or I think it's 102.5 NWKS. Listen to him on Facebook. If you guys get on Facebook, listen to him. He's from 8 in the morning to 9 in the morning with Ross Volker. I can't remember his name exactly, but anyway, Max Gershon, I know that name, and he does a great show. So he does his predictions also with me, and that is, very awesome that he does do that. Saying that. So anyway, so I went 13-3 the week before. I was better. I was 2 games better than anybody. So I was finally getting it going. And guess what I did? I went 8-7 this week. I totally lost it. I picked Green Bay. I picked Seattle. And Seattle just totally oh my gosh. I cannot believe it. They had actually the shot at winning, and so they came back late in the fourth quarter. They scored a touchdown to tie the game, and then they go into overtime. They have the ball first. It's not like the Chiefs. The Rams wasn't all worried and went, oh no, Seattle's got the ball first. But they went down the field, and instead of kicking a field goal, they turned around and tried for 4th and 1 and missed. And then the Rams just took it down the field. Demarcus Robinson with an amazing one-handed catch ended the game for the Rams. And with that, the Rams are 4-4, and they are in the playoff hunt. And then I picked Green Bay to beat Detroit. And then I picked New England, who actually went into overtime, but Tennessee ended up beating them. And then the two bad picks, which was Cleveland and Indianapolis. I picked them, Indianapolis to beat Minnesota and Cleveland to beat the Chargers. And I really thought after Cleveland had taken care of Baltimore that they would use that to motivate themselves to get it going, just to boost them up, to get it going. And they turned around and laid an egg. And it was all over my face because I'm telling you what, I was just so frustrated. The only thing that I did right was I picked Carolina to beat the New Orleans Saints, where all of them picked New Orleans. And so there was Coach 24 and Marvin, and I was talking with Marvin before we did our podcast of On the Record, and he goes, we don't like you very well. Obviously, we don't like your picks. There were 5 games where they picked one team and I picked the other, and I missed 4 of the 5. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. I need to start following them, I guess, or something. I don't know, because it was horrible. But I did get the New Orleans Saints one, and with that, the New Orleans Saints became the first team in 276 games to out yardage their opponent by over 150 yards, rush for 150 yards, and win the turnover battle and still lost. The first 275 were able to accomplish it and win. They didn't. It cost Dennis Allen his job, and his record is his coaching record during this time was the lowest in 30 years. It was 325, and I don't know his actual stats. I just know that the percentage that he won. He didn't even win 33% of his games. That's one out of every three. He was less than that, and with that, he was gone. And Derek Carr is about ready to follow him because the team is just not following him very well. I mean, after they scored 91 points in the first two games, they have scored only 116 points in the next 7 games. That is not good. That is horrible. But anyway, so Carolina which is one of the worst teams in the NFL. They are 2-0 against teams that have black and gold jerseys, which is New Orleans Saints and the Las Vegas Raiders, because Las Vegas Raiders are now not black and silver. They are black and gold because of Vegas. And they are 2-0 against them, but they are 0-7 against other teams with different color jerseys. So it just tells you just how bad it is. Now, for usually women that usually will pick teams to win based on their colors, this would be a perfect opportunity. But anyway, so and then I picked Dallas. I don't know why I picked Dallas. Dallas is horrible. And then they turned around and they pick up a wide receiver at the trade deadline. Now, saying this, they gave up a 4th-round draft pick to pick up a guy named Mingo from Carolina, and I don't think he's that great of a wide receiver. Maybe he'll get better with Dallas, but right now he's going to have to play without Dak Prescott, who is out for at least 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. But here's the funny thing. The Chiefs get a 5th-round draft pick for DeAndre Hopkins, who is a way better wide receiver than Mingo. The Jets, they give up a 5th-round draft pick for Devontae Adams, and the Bills, I believe, gave up now I've got the hiccups. They give up a 6th-round draft pick for Amari Cooper. So these 3 wide receivers are better than Mingo, and yet Dallas gives up a 4th-round draft pick for this guy. I can't believe it. I can't believe that Carolina stole that pick from the Dallas Cowboys. But it just shows, just like Coach 24 said, Dallas Cowboys will never win another Super Bowl with Jerry Jones running the show. And so far he's proven that theory right, because I mean, they haven't even made it to the NFC Championship game in the last 30 years. You could say the Chiefs have been to more Super Bowls. You could say Tampa Bay has been to more Super Bowls. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. Carolina has been they've been to more Super Bowls. I'm the only teams that have not been to more Super Bowls is the Houston Texans, Cleveland Browns, and the Detroit Lions, who they have never been to the Super Bowl. But I'm still thinking that the Detroit Lions is going to do that. I believe Um, it would take it. They would have to really fail, and I don't see any teams right now in the NFC. I mean, yes, you got Washington. The Commanders have been really good. They've been playing great ball. You have Green Bay. You have the Rams, who are up and coming and improving. You have Philadelphia, and yet all those teams, maybe the Rams, maybe. But even then, I don't see a team right now that can beat either Kansas City or the Detroit Lions. So, I mean, I said this at the beginning of the year. I said Kansas City and Detroit. I said Kansas City is going to three-peat, and I am sticking to my guns. No, they are undefeated right now. Now, saying this, I do not think that they are going to go undefeated, and it is unfair for people to think that they should go undefeated. I mean, you're playing a tough schedule, and towards the end of the season, you are playing Pittsburgh, you're playing Houston, you're playing the Broncos and Chargers, who are up and coming. Now, you do get Carolina, you do get Vegas, you do get easy weeks of teams, but still, this is the NFL. No win or no team is an easy team. Now, some of them may be better to deal with, and if they can get to the point where they have already sealed the number one seed, they are going to start resting the Chiefs, because right now they are decimated by injuries. Hopefully, everybody will start coming back. Obviously, Rice will not be back this year. But still, if everybody else can come back and get healthy by the end of the season, there's no doubt that the Chiefs will three-peat. I totally believe in it. But saying this, the Chiefs and Tampa Bay played on Monday night, and Tampa Bay, even though they have lost players, they have really got a decent team. And even though they are under 500 right now at 4-5, I believe that they will be one of those teams that will not only fight for a playoff spot, but they could move deep into the playoffs. Now, if they eventually play Detroit in the first round, or actually it'll be the second round, because I see them, the Detroit Lions, be the number one seed in the NFC, and Tampa Bay has to beat Atlanta, or has to be 3 games better than Atlanta as of right now, because they have to have a better record with Atlanta sweeping the Bucks. And Atlanta is really playing surprising ball. But we still, we're still, the jury is still out on Kirk Cousins. Yes, he has played much better. Yes, he is probably in a better system. Raheem Morris has really done a great job with the Atlanta Falcons. And so we'll just have to see where that goes. But Tampa Bay is the one team that's like under 500 that I would say would make the playoffs at the end of the season. Now you've got Denver at 5-4, and they are going to play the Chiefs this weekend, and this is going to be a really tough game for the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, Kansas City has dominated them with Patrick Mahomes in it. Patrick has only lost one road game against Denver, and that was last year, 24-9. They didn't even score a touchdown, and that was one of those few games where Patrick Mahomes has lost by more than one score. And if I'm not mistaken, he's got less than 5 games where he has lost by more than one score, and that is very, very impressive. everybody's talking about, oh, they're barely winning and everything else like that. But my goodness, they just win. They don't care how they do it. They just do it. And they always seem to have somebody step it up and contribute. And it's not just Patrick Mahomes. It's just not Chris Jones or Travis Kelce. It is a whole bunch of players. They just everybody steps up, and that's great coaching. That's not good coaching. That is great coaching. And Andy Reid has done a phenomenal job. Him and his assistants have just done an amazing job in how they coach these players each week. I mean, one player goes down, they just they're any other team, all of a sudden they're in a 3-4 game losing streak. The Chiefs just keep winning and winning and winning. I know that they are going to eventually lose a game, but when they are going to lose, I don't know. They play Denver this week, and then they go to Buffalo next week. So, I mean, that's the game that everybody's looking at. Now everybody's thinking that the Chiefs are looking past Denver, and I know they're not looking past Denver because Denver has actually been their biggest rival outside of the Cincinnati Bengals, because Patrick Mahomes is 15-3 in the playoffs. 15-3. That's 80. Well, what is that? That's 87% of percentage of winning. And the 3 losses, 2 of them is by a retired quarterback, and the other one is Joe Burrow. Now, I know Joe Burrow is not, their team is struggling this year, but every time Kansas City plays Cincinnati, it just seems like they, yeah. I mean, if you look at Cincinnati, I mean, they're 4-5. If they lose tonight, they go to 4-6, and that it just really puts a damper on it because they are in a tough division. You've got Pittsburgh at 6-2. If Baltimore beats them, they will be 7-3, and so and that will put them because Baltimore would have swept the Cincinnati Bengals, so they'll be 4 games ahead of Baltimore because they have to overtake them in order to get the playoffs. Now, Pittsburgh, the only thing is they have not played a conference game yet. So they still have their 6 games, and they really, I mean, even though they are played really good football and they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. In fact, they are second behind the Chargers in points allowed. Chargers are at 12.6, and Pittsburgh is at 14.9. And then you've got Denver at 17.9 and Kansas City at 18.4. So you've got all those 4 teams. And then the other 2 is the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears are tied at 18.5 points per game. That's the defense. So saying that, but Pittsburgh has to play all 6 games of the conference, and then they play Philadelphia, Kansas City, and I cannot remember the other team right off the bat. But they have a pretty tough schedule going on there. So and they play Kansas City at Christmas. Let's see, Baltimore. I'm getting there. Philadelphia. I already said Philadelphia. Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Whoever they're playing this weekend, I'm thinking they're playing. They're playing Washington. That's why. So you've got 3. So outside the conference, you're playing 3 teams where their record, combined record, is, I believe, 21-4. Yeah, yeah, that is not going to be an easy schedule. And then you've got Baltimore, who is 6-3 right now, could possibly go to 7-3 tonight. You've got Cincinnati, who is not an easy win, but you've got Cleveland, so that could be a break. But still, Pittsburgh and Cleveland have always played each other tough. You know that they call the AFC North the black and blue division for you don't call that for a reason. So they just I'm telling you what, Pittsburgh is got it going. But tonight we have Cincinnati and Baltimore, and I've got our predictions. Cincinnati is 7th with 26.2 points per game, but they give up 25.2 points per game, which is 25th. Their rushing is really suspect. They're only averaging 94 yards a game. That's 27th, but they average just under 250 yards per game passing. And Joe Burrow is the only quarterback this year to throw 5 touchdowns in 2 games. So, I mean, he can do it. And one of those games was against the Baltimore Ravens on October 6th. So, roughly a month ago, he threw for 5 touchdowns, and they almost beat the Ravens. So, they lost by 3. Yeah, Lamar Jackson. So then you go to Baltimore. Baltimore is second in the NFL in scoring behind the Detroit Lions at 31.4. They are 23rd at giving up points, so that's their Achilles heel. They are at 24.3, which is 23rd, but they rush for over 191 yards per game, which is first, and they are 4th in passing at 264 yards. They are the number 1 offense in the NFL by a good 30 yards, second to the San Francisco 49ers. So San Francisco, as much as they're struggling, they still get a lot of yards, and they get Christian McCaffrey back, who could possibly be playing this weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Tampa Bay's road is also not easy. But saying this, Max Gershon, he picked the Cincinnati Bengals, and Marvin Durant, he's got the Baltimore Ravens. Coach 24 has the Baltimore Ravens, and myself have the Baltimore Ravens, and it is going to be another high-scoring game, and I'm going to pick that it's 38-31. Actually, no. I'm going to say 38-34. It's going to be a little bit closer. So, yeah. So, we are at the end of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. My brother with another mother, Coach 24, Darwin Penny, and DJ Scatter, George Walker behind the scenes running the show. And I am Brian Kress, the Awesome Voice. Be awesome, not angry, and you guys have yourself a phenomenal sports weekend.